Hello colleagues, Peter Castellas here from the Australian office. I head up our Cleantech initiatives in Australia. Have had a good opportunity to interact with a number of you over the last 6 or 12 months, particularly Dave Pearson and Melissa Swift, who I'm in regular contact with opportunities in Australia. And I thought today I'd just give you a very quick overview of some of the drivers for the Cleantech market opportunities in Australia and some of the things that we as a firm could potentially do to connect from our global efforts into the Australian marketplace. The first most significant thing that's happening in Australia is the introduction of the carbon price. As of 1st of July, a national-wide scheme to put a price on carbon will apply the price to 500 of Australia's largest emitters. Some of the liabilities extend up to hundreds of millions of dollars for some of the large energy generators. It's a very significant cost that's going to flow through into doing business in Australia. One of the consequences of that is that the government will be looking for ways to help fund solutions to the problem that corporates have in terms of mitigating their carbon liability. And as a result of the carbon price introduction, they have created over $32 billion worth of new funds that are going to flow back to business and into clean tech and clean energy. The most significant of that is the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, which will be a $10 billion clean energy, low emissions energy efficiency fund. In the Australian office, we've actually worked directly with Treasury to help design the mandate for that, so we've got a pretty good insight into where those funds are going to flow, what type of projects and the type of technologies that are going to be recipients of those funds. So the Australian government has created that. They've created the ARENA Australian Renewable Energy Agency, which is another $3 billion initiative. They've got a $1 billion clean tech fund and, as I said, a range of government assistance coming from the revenue from the carbon price. That creates an environment where there is a regulatory impact and a cost on the carbon emissions for most of Australia's major corporates. There is government funds that are going to help actually fund the solutions, and then implicit in that there is the corporate demand for clean technology, energy efficiency, renewable energy solutions. In Australia, we don't necessarily have mature, developed, deployed technologies that are going to actually fill that gap, and so there's a real opportunity in Australia to create a conduit from the global marketplace, in particular our clients who have technologies, or our clients who are fund managers, VC fund managers if you like, who have portfolio companies that will have a real opportunity in Australia. So if that overarching policy environment driven by other things such as a 20% renewable energy target and building energy efficiency codes, in addition to government funds, there will be a real opportunity for corporates to actually invest in clean tech solutions. So there's the first key market opportunity. In addition, we have very sophisticated capital markets here in Australia. There's a lot of funds under management due to our superannuation laws, $1.5 trillion of funds being managed, who are also starting to look at clean tech, clean energy as a viable asset class. So for the opportunity in Australia for project developers to come in to actually help establish projects, can access government money, local capital markets and the market demand, particularly for things like distributed solar power into mining and resources where there is a very significant economic burn going on in Australia to provide our commodities to the Asian marketplace. So the opportunity really for our firm is to identify the companies with the technology solutions, the clients with the project development capability, the funds managers with the ability to manage funds in this domain-specific area, and to put Australia on the map as a place where there is a very favourable environment to go and do business. The other thing about Australia is that there's 2 degrees of separation between anyone and someone else. Only 22 million people in the country, so you can get access to key decision makers in business, into government. And where our firm is positioned in our clean tech space in Australia is right in that nexus of where government policy has been created, so we're advising government. The technology solutions are becoming developed, so we're working with the technology companies as their solutions become more viable. we're working with the investment community to help them identify investment opportunities, and we're working with corporates, particularly around their strategies to address and mitigate carbon liability as end users who would be buying and investing in these solutions. So I think overall it's going to be a very profitable time for companies and organisations in Australia who will be able to position themselves to meet that corporate demand, access government funds, and establish operations down here. So what I'm particularly interested in is any of our clients internationally that are looking at international business development. More than happy to talk to them about how they can about the environment in Australia, how they can access opportunities down here, and what our role might be to help them in those market entry strategies, or in project development, or in establishing consortia, or accessing government funds. So they're the kind of key messages I want to leave with you. It's a good place to do business. There's a really favourable policy environment. There's lots of money here. But what we're missing is in that space of commercial deployment, commercially deployed technologies, and fund management capability, and project development experience. Any one of those that you come across in your jurisdiction, looking to move to an environment where there's low levels of risk, then be more than happy to talk to you. Hope I could have been. Wish I could have been there with you to have these conversations with you, and to have a few beers and some labour cars and vice versa out on the stalls at night in Munich. But I trust there's going to be enough goodwill over there to carry the Australian flavour and spirit over there while you're enjoying yourself in conference, in strategy discussions, and in the social environment that extends afterwards. So look forward to seeing you again or individually at some point over the next year or two. In the meantime, please get in touch. Dave and Melissa have got my details if you need to get in touch with me about anything. Thanks very much, and enjoy yourselves.